Okay, so we are here. We're just waiting for as many people as possible to join, and then we'll get going. I'll go ahead and share my screen.
Okay, I see one person, Salvadora, so
Okay.
let's just wait a little while.
Yeah, sure. Welcome. We're just waiting for as many people as are coming to make it in, and then we'll get going. Anytime you're ready, Shari, just let me know.
Okay, let's give it 3 more minutes.
Okay. So we're just waiting for anyone else to come in, and then we'll get going. Thanks for your patience. We're just waiting for other folks to come in, and we'll get going.
And Jack, if you could send me the video by the end of the day, that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
I'll
have
do
to
my
send,
best.
perfect, because I have to send it to someone in England, so later is fine. Yeah,
Okay.
yes, in the UK. So,
It
okay,
is being recorded, yeah.
okay. Oh, what happened here? Okay,
Sounds fine.
perfect. Okay, I think we can start.
Okay. All right then. So to everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Jack Stevens, and I'm a librarian in the Science, Technology, and Patents Department at the Los Angeles Public Library, Central Library. Today's presentation is with Shari Emami, a board-certified holistic health practitioner and award-winning author on the subject of fibromyalgia and its treatment. According to the National Library of Medicine's Medline Plus consumer health website, Medline Plus, fibromyalgia is a chronic, that is long-lasting condition that causes pain all over the body, fatigue, and other symptoms. While we're waiting for everyone to log on, I want to mention several upcoming in-person programs here at Central Library. Tomorrow, Saturday at 10 to 11:30 in the Octavia Lab, there will be a sewing basics class, an introductory lesson. Participants will get hands-on experience with our sewing machines and learn the basics needed to begin their own projects. Then next Tuesday, The Source is a free health and emergency shelter services event. This is in the Thornton Courtyard from 12:30 to 3 here at Central Library. It's a convenient one-stop shop of services and resources for community members experiencing homelessness, life instability, or who are low income. And then the next day on Wednesday, we're having a program all about trademarks in the Carson Center from 2 to 3 at Central Library. Learn about trademarks and how to use the trademark search tool with our patent and trademark librarian. Please check the calendar of events linked from the library's main page for more programs throughout the library system, both in person and online. Before I introduce our speaker, I want to encourage everyone attending to please hold questions to the end, and then we will try to save time to get to them. With that, we're thrilled to welcome Shari Emami today for a presentation on fibromyalgia. Shari Emami, as I mentioned, is a board-certified holistic health practitioner and award-winning author. Today, she's going to be speaking about her journey to managing and healing fibromyalgia. Her book, for which she was awarded a Literary Titan Book Award, has the same title as today's presentation, Breaking Free from Pain, From Suffering to Strength, My Own Personal Journey with Fibromyalgia and Healing Modalities. Shari's book is currently available in the Los Angeles Public Library's collection as an ebook, and it will be available as a print book in the fall. Shari Emami.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. I'm honored to be here. By show of hands, who here has fibromyalgia or knows someone that has fibromyalgia or is currently taking care of someone that has fibromyalgia? Okay, well, I hope you get a lot out of this webinar. It's suggested to maybe take notes because there's going to be a lot of information that's going to be shared today. Okay, next slide. Next slide.
Yes, it's not working. There we go.
Okay. I am an award-winning author, board-certified holistic health practitioner, certified health coach, disability advocate, and former fibromyalgia patient. I have been in remission since 2017. Next slide. Okay, so before I got diagnosed, I was very frustrated because I was experiencing a lot of symptoms. I couldn't get out of bed. Some of the other symptoms I had included headaches, tender muscles, burning sensation all over, digestive issues, including irritable bowel syndrome, limited mobility, swelling on my feet, brain fog, concentration issues, also known as fibrofog, dysmenorrhea, and painful menstrual cramps. So 8 months to being officially diagnosed by my primary care physician, I was experiencing these symptoms. Now, one of the ways they diagnose patients is there's 18 tender points throughout the body. If you fall in the line of anywhere from 11 to 18 tender points, you are classified as someone with fibromyalgia. Okay, next slide. So what is fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia is a chronic, long-lasting disorder that causes pain and tenderness throughout the body, as well as fatigue and trouble sleeping. It can also cause digestive issues and brain fog. It is most commonly found in women, but men and children can get it as well. It's estimated to affect about 4 million Americans. There is no one cause, but a combination of physical and emotional distress comes at play and is a major factor to getting this condition. Some of the physical issues, like I know for me, and I talk about this in my book, I got in a car accident, and then I had some emotional trauma and distress, and I know that there's people that have suffered abuse, or maybe there's grief. That gets stored in the hippocampus. So a lot of times with fibromyalgia, you have low serotonin levels and dopamine, which is produced in the limbic system. There's also something produced in the brain called substance P, which activates pain response that goes through all the central nervous system and affects your pain. So basically, it's an illness that involves the way the brain responds to pain. So fibromyalgia patients oftentimes have high levels of substance P. Okay, next slide. The conflict. Well, many doctors dismiss the symptoms as a thyroid condition, autoimmune disorder, lupus, or Lyme disease if you go outdoors on a regular basis. This is what was happening to me before getting diagnosed. So one of the reasons why the doctors have a hard time diagnosing this is because there are no blood tests, MRI tests, ultrasounds, x-rays, or diagnostic tests that can actually look and see if you have fibromyalgia. So for a long time, it was a very tricky condition to diagnose. And in the past, doctors wrote it off as a psychosomatic illness, always telling patients it's all in your head. And patients would leave feeling very frustrated and still in pain. Next slide. So what I did is I took the liberty and ordered tests from a third party and went to Quest Diagnostics. I tested myself for thyroid antibodies, SED, which is the sedimation rate, that deals with inflammation, creatine kinase, which deals with muscle damage, and C-reactive protein, which deals with inflammation. I also went to a naturopath and did a urine hormone test and also came back surprisingly positive for the MTHFR gene expression. Now, it has been researched and proven that there's a high correlation between the MTHFR gene and getting fibromyalgia. Okay, next slide. So here's the conclusion. Through all that testing, everything came back normal except the C-reactive protein. Now, being that I paid for these tests out of pocket, I want to say I spent about $1,200. No insurance, I paid for everything myself. So the urine test showed high cortisol and MTHFR gene came back present. So that means there was inflammation and high homocysteine levels. Now we want to reduce homocysteine levels. So how do we do that? Next slide. Treatment options. Remove inflammation by changing diet. This includes cutting out gluten and foods like processed foods, cured meats, baked goods, removing dairy and sugary drinks, adding folic acid to my diet in a form of methylfolate supplementations. I would recommend 1,000 micrograms a day. That's a safe and good amount. Reducing homocysteine levels through light exercise. You don't want to overexert your body because that, of course, is going to cause more pain, but you still need to move. So you want to keep it light, maybe low impact or something like that, or water aerobics, stress reduction, and diet changes. Okay, next slide. Ask your doctor to get tested. This is very important. I can't stress this enough. Please get your primary care physician, or you can get a referral to a dietitian. Ask them to test for the IgA immunoglobulin antibodies blood test, because that will tell you right off the bat if you are in fact allergic to gluten, or if you have celiac disease. Now, you don't have to have celiac disease to be allergic to gluten, so just keep that in mind. But if you are allergic to gluten, then you definitely want to remove that out of your diet. Okay, next slide. Who was Dr. Paul Eck? Well, he's in chapter 2, and I'm going to be reading about him a little bit later. Next slide. Dr. Paul Eck was a clinician and physician who specialized in mineral balancing. He spent most of his life researching psychology, nutrition, and biochemistry. What was interesting about that is there's definitely a link between psychiatry, the brain, the limbic system, and fibromyalgia pain. So his theory was that he founded the hair mineral analysis as a way to look at mineral deficiencies to rebalance the system with nutrition. His philosophy was healing the body as a whole and at a cellular level for overall health. So he was known as the founding father of hair mineral analysis. In 1974, he found analytical research labs specializing in the discovery of hair mineral analysis. It has been open ever since and operates in Arizona. Okay, next slide. What is a hair mineral analysis? It is a non-invasive test that looks at a sample of the hair as a biopsy. It's popular in alternative medicine. It detects mineral levels and imbalances and looks at the whole entire system at the cellular level to give a better idea as to what is going on in the body. It can go back as far as 9 months prior to testing to look at mineral deficient and toxic metals in the body. So the way it's performed is you get a tablespoon of your hair. they send you an envelope, and then there's a symptom checkoff list. So you want to fill that out, fill out all your information, and they can look at your symptoms, and they take the hair, they take it to a lab, it gets burned by a spectrometer, and it gives off L kilo spectra colors, and it's divided into 3 different parts: the macro minerals, the trace elements, and the toxic metals. Okay, next slide. What are the benefits? Well, it can detect metabolic issues in the body, useful method in looking at mineral imbalances, and of course, no blood is drawn, so it's non-invasive. Okay, next slide. My findings with my own testing and how it related to fibromyalgia includes high calcium. Now, when the calcium levels are off balance, it can cause something called hyperparathyroidism, which definitely puts you at risk for fibromyalgia. Also, you want to keep the calcium levels balanced to get your muscles and your whole system working properly. Low magnesium. Well, when you have low magnesium, it causes a lot of muscle cramps. So that is an issue. So you want to maybe change that with diet or magnesium supplement. Okay. Low potassium and sodium. Of course, that deals with electrolytes and copper toxicity. So toxic copper can also cause fibromyalgia as well. Okay, next slide. So types of practitioners that can help. I can't stress this enough. It is so important to find practitioners that you click with, that are empathetic, caring and understanding, and have knowledge of your condition. So definitely look for those traits and kind of stick to a team of different people. So what you want to do first is go to your primary care physician, and that'll work well if you're on a PPO or HMO plan. You can tell them your symptoms, and then they can refer you to a rheumatologist. Rheumatologists deal with issues of the connective joints, the connective tissues, the joints, and they can help come up with a treatment plan. They can also look at the synovial fluid and test that, and then they can kind of tell you where to go from there. You can also ask for a referral for a nutritionist or dietitian in case you want some diet help on, and maybe some guidance on what will work for you. A physical therapist will, of course, help you with movement. They're very good at getting you back into exercise and focusing on gentle movement because you probably aren't able to move your body as is very painful. Then this is optional, but if you want, I would recommend a chiropractor as they can realign the spine and that can help with pain. And one thing that's very important that I found effective was a massage therapist. I would recommend the Swedish massage or deep tissue massage, maybe at kind of a firm pressure. You don't want to go too much, but definitely tell your massage therapist what's going on. But I found that to relieve a lot of pain. Acupuncture is great. They take small fine needles and put it in the points that are related to your pain. That helps a lot with lessening the pain. And then this is optional. If you want to get back into a routine, you could try a corrective exercise specialist or personal trainer that can help you take it slow on your fitness routine. Okay, next slide. Other forms of treatment, aromatherapist. Certain essential oils can help you feel better. I know I like peppermint oil personally. That helps me with headaches. Support groups, you definitely want to reach out to people that have fibromyalgia or other pain-related issues. It's a great way to meet friends. It's a great way to socialize and interact with others that are going through what you're going through so you don't feel alone. Talk therapy. Talk therapy is great. I recommend DBT, which is known as dialectical behavioral therapy, which was discovered by Dr. Marcia Linehan, and cognitive behavioral therapy. DBT focuses on mindfulness and radical acceptance. So what's great about that is when you stay mindful, you don't judge your pain, but you kind of work through it and work around it. And through continued therapy sessions, I found that that helped me a lot with reducing fibromyalgia pain. Of course, lifestyle modifications, as we talked about before, it's diet and exercise, and then TENS machines. I use TENS Pro, that's TENSPRO. That is a machine you can purchase. It's very inexpensive. They carry the Intensity 10 machine, which was actually featured on one of the episodes of on Dr. Oz. I do sell that on my website. So a TENS machine stands for transcranial electronic nerve stimulation. So that works by putting patches on the areas that you have pain, and then there's an electrical signal that sends to that, and it lessens the pain. So that's great. Okay, next slide. What you can do to help yourself. So there's a lot that you could do to help yourself in addition to reaching out to practitioners. One, you can change your diet to a healthy one with lots of fruits and vegetables, and you definitely want to focus on anti-inflammatory foods. Try an elimination diet, removing gluten. In chapter 9, I talk about plant-based and why that's important. I do give a grocery list and some shopping ideas, so you have that there with you, so it can be easier for you to find things. There's also some recipes. Start a light workout program. Like I said, low impact is great. You don't want to do anything stressful like HIIT training or anything, Tabata or anything too intense. Join a group class workout, maybe like a yoga class or a water aerobics, meditate. That's great. Mind over, there's a mind body connection. So definitely when you relax your mind, you'll start to feel better all over. Join a pain or fibromyalgia support group. As mentioned before, that's a great way to reach out to people, get help that you need, exchange ideas. Ask family members to help with cooking and housework. So if you have friends or family that can maybe help out with chores, definitely try to see if you can, let them know and take parts and who does what. Don't stop your life. Continue socializing with friends. That includes going to the movies, concerts, anything you did with your friends. Maybe have like a potluck dinner where everyone brings a meal and then you don't have to worry about cooking and hosting, and then everyone can kind of, socialize that way. Get adequate rest. It's recommended to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Take warm baths and use Epsom salt. Epsom salt is great for muscle aches, and practice other forms of self-care, including any music you listen to or reading a good book or anything like that. Okay, next slide. Future outlook. Well, fibromyalgia does not have to be a lifelong sentence. Don't lose hope and keep at it and keep trying. Okay, next slide. Why I wrote my book. Well, I wanted to bring awareness to this common but misunderstood condition. I also wanted to bring my unique standpoint on it, to educate others in alternative medicine, to shine light on Dr. Paul Eck's work, to give others hope who are suffering from trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, to provide a useful guide for others suffering to better equip themselves with knowledge of how to heal. Okay, next slide. Thank you. I will now be going over key points in my book. Chapter 2, exploring the link between fibromyalgia and hair health. When I became board certified as a holistic health practitioner back in 2014, one of the healing modalities I offered was hair mineral analysis. I would not use this in place of blood work for checking for deficiencies. However, if nothing comes back in the blood work and you're still feeling a bit off, I would highly recommend this testing. The hair testing often picks up changes in minerals and heavy metals in the body that haven't been picked up by blood. This test can go even further into the body and detect deficiencies that blood work might not have picked up, especially if you're still experiencing any symptoms that could relate to fibromyalgia. One of the things that hair mineral testing can pick up that blood can't is the ability to detect mineral imbalances and toxicity in the system. An imbalance could cause all types of problems and inflammation in the body, resulting in fibromyalgia symptoms. The lab I used for this testing was Analytical Research Labs in Arizona. The founding father of this testing was the late Dr. Paul Eck, who was a brilliant biochemist, clinician, and physician who specialized in mineral balancing. He spent most of his life researching psychology, nutrition, and biochemistry. He founded the hair mineral analysis testing as a way to look at mineral deficiencies to rebalance the system with nutrition. Dr. Eck realized that the hair mineral analysis testing was actually measuring the body's response to stress rather than simply looking at the separate minerals levels on a hair test. All the mineral levels had to be interpreted as a whole to look at the body's entire system. Dr. X's theories and ideas were cutting edge in the manner that he used all these concepts to help understand the significance of tissue mineral levels, ratios, and metabolic patterns. He used this information to look at the causes of many types of diseases. As a result, he became the main authority figure in hair mineral testing and technically the first person to discover this type of testing. Dr. Paul Eck's findings were effective and fascinating, and in 1974, he opened Analytical Research Labs and has been open ever since. I used it in the past for patients who had a wide variety of issues, including thyroid imbalances, hormonal problems, and mineral deficiencies. Some of my patients will call me for a test to help with their child with ADHD and other issues. In the past, after finding patients' results and receiving nutritional therapy, they have reported feeling better overall, likely because it helped them get to the root of the problem. Even though I no longer this testing, I would highly advise considering if you have fibromyalgia or persistent symptoms. Hair mineral testing can show signs of mineral deficiencies that can give a clear picture of what could be going on in the body. There has been a lot of controversy over hair mineral analysis in the past, but what people don't realize is that even though it's not a medical test, only an alternative medicine test, it still provides great value. One of the points made was that it was unreliable. However, it has been shown that hair testing can provide crucial and useful information on somebody's metabolic rate, energy levels, carbohydrate tolerance, state of stress, immune system, and glandular activity. If you remember, when I was getting the results, it was high cortisol. High cortisol affects the adrenal glands, which would affect all parts of the body. So a lot of issues with problems at the cellular level can predict further problems that could happen as an outcome. It is important to remember that rebalancing the system is one key ingredient to feeling better overall. I advise you to follow up with the holistic doctor after testing. Please don't use hair testing as a replacement for blood testing, but go to your primary care doctor and see what they say and use this testing as an add-on to see what else could be going on. I encourage you, it's well worth the cost. So what exactly is a hair mineral analysis? A hair mineral analysis is an alternative medicine form. It's non-invasive testing that looks at the hair to test and give a blueprint of what's going on in the system. It can show cellular activity within the body. It goes as far as back as 3 to 4 months of metabolic testing to look for mineral deficiencies. A hair analysis uses special techniques to closely look at the hair. What is interesting is that the results can show details about your health and habits. Here's the reason why it's a great form of testing. First off, there are no needles or drawing blood. It is non-invasive. The reason why it's effective is that your hair absorbs chemicals from the medications you take, the foods you eat, the environmental toxins, and this information stays in the shaft for several months. It can test for thyroid issues, mineral deficiencies, toxicity in the system, and nutritional imbalances. To do this type of testing, you purchase the test from a holistic practitioner, and at home, you or a friend snips your hair clean and close to the scalp. The hair should be dry. It's also best to work on chemically untreated hair to get the most accurate results. So that means no dyes, perms, keratin, Brazilian blowouts, anything like that. What is recommended if it's treated is to wait about 6 to 8 weeks till the hair grows back and then use the new hair for testing. The sample of the hair is then put in an envelope and mailed to the lab. Usually the test will offer a symptoms checklist that you can use. The ends of the hair, which are over 3 milliliters long, are cut and thrown away. The testing requires about a tablespoon of hair. Then laboratory technicians cut the sample into small pieces and dissolve it in acid overnight. The measured portion amount is then burned into a computer-controlled spectrometer. Each mineral gives off specific alkylo colors or spectra, which are read by sensitive detectors. The test is usually divided into 3 parts: the macrominerals, trace minerals, and toxic metals. The test gives a value to each element. So some of the macrominerals include calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. The trace minerals include zinc, copper, selenium, iron, chromium, manganese, cobalt, and boron. The last are the toxic metals, which in high amounts can lead to poisoning. This includes arsenic, cadmium, lead, aluminum, and mercury. As you can see, heavy amounts of toxic metals can be deadly. Now, how does this all relate to fibromyalgia? Well, it can be seen in a number of ways with this type of testing. According to analytical research labs, the root of many pain disorders is adrenal blowout or insufficiency. Most people with a diagnosis of fibromyalgia are actually slow oxidizers. Slow oxidizers mean that the food converts into energy at a slower rate. This means that the metabolism is slower and their adrenal glands are underactive. When your adrenal glands are underactive, you typically feel tired, lethargic, and have no energy. High calcium levels and muscular pain. One thing that came back on my hair test was high calcium. When the calcium levels are very high, it is a marker for fibromyalgia. What was clear was that my hair testing results showed that hair calcium levels were higher and magnesium levels were lower than healthy individual test results. High level of calcium can also dictate that there's not being properly absorbed. This creates a problem in the way that the muscles feel and respond to pain. It is not clearly shown why, but another thing that can happen is high calcium can cause a condition called hyperparathyroidism. This is when your body produces too much of the parathyroid hormone. The parathyroid hormone produced by the thyroid gland helps maintain the right balance of calcium in the bloodstream and in the tissue. The right amount of calcium is essential for proper functioning. This is especially important for nerve and muscle function as well as bone health. When the calcium level is too high, it affects muscle pain. What is interesting is that the hyperparathyroidism can mimic symptoms of fibromyalgia. It is not definite what percentage of people with high calcium can get this condition, and it's not clear what percentage of patients with high calcium lead to fibromyalgia. However, it's still an important and valid topic not to be ignored because there are so many ways calcium affects the muscles and function. Therefore, an imbalance could cause discomfort and pain. Low magnesium and fibromyalgia symptoms. Okay. Another thing that is common with fibromyalgia patients is extremely low magnesium. Magnesium deficiency is usually related to a lot of leg and muscle cramping. This would explain the correlation between low magnesium and fibromyalgia symptoms. Most people don't get enough magnesium in their diet, and they must consume it through sources that include nuts, low-fat dairy, and leafy greens. Taking a magnesium supplement personally helped me with fibromyalgia pain as it relaxes the muscles and helps with leg cramping. Low sodium and potassium levels in fibromyalgia patients. Another finding in fibromyalgia patients is when their sodium and potassium levels are low. The imbalance of sodium-potassium ratio is often present in the hair analysis of those with fibromyalgia. According to the works and findings of the late Dr. Paul Eck, the sodium-potassium ratio on a hair mineral analysis reflects the balance between the pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory hormones. Any elevated pro-inflammatory response would cause inflammation and pain to elevate in the body. There's certain anti-inflammatory foods that you can consume that would help, and I talk about that in Chapter 9 with the plant-based diet. Copper toxicity and fibromyalgia. According to findings and research with analytical research labs, toxic metal buildup can contribute to some cases of fibromyalgia. Among the most common seen is copper toxicity. Copper is required for energy production in the electron transport system. About 30% of all cellular energy is in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphates, is generated here. A copper imbalance profoundly affects the energy production. ATP is energy stored and used at the cellular level. An excess amount of copper would affect ATP, which would also cause energy depletion, which is found in fibromyalgia. So as you can see here, there are quite a few causes of toxic metals that increase fibromyalgia risks. You're probably wondering, well, what can you do to help remedy this situation that's going on in your system? Well, it would be wise to detoxify the system and get rid of any toxins. What is a toxin exactly? Well, it's anything that does not belong in the body, whether man-made or natural. There are many ways your body is exposed to toxins. Some include environmental toxins such as metals, plastics, and radiation, to name a few. Some can even be emotional toxins from stress and negative thinking patterns. The goal is to get rid of these toxins so that the body can heal. In the detoxification process, your whole body starts to eliminate those toxins. The main organ that expels toxins include kidneys, large intestines, liver, lungs, and skin. These are big parts of the human body. But that's not enough. In order to fully detoxify, the system has to release toxins from every cell. This is how the body heals on a cellular level. It was actually this information that propelled Dr. Eck to researching hair mineral analysis and discovering the benefits. He also states that getting to the cellular activity is the root of a lot of ailments. So let me explain further. Hair is a great form of biopsy as it can be collected and transported. It tracks minerals in the body. As hair grows, it imprints a permanent record of the body's nutritional deficiencies. This can show what is happening on a cellular level. Having your body get healthy with each cell can be the utmost form of healing. It can also allow the body to function at an optimal level. So getting the whole body and system back to balance can be really beneficial at alleviating symptoms and root causes of fibromyalgia. In regards to healing, when the body detoxifies, it allows the cells to heal. There are many ways you can avoid toxins so that the body does not get overloaded with this. One is keeping a healthy lifestyle. So that means nourishing your body, mind, and spirit. The other is reducing your exposure to poisons. Both medical and dental toxins are to be cautioned, such as dental fillings or silver fillings. Another is a list of other poisons that could create toxicity in the body. Please note, though, that if you have to be on one of these, ask your dentist for a more natural option for fillings or implants, such as composite resin fillings. Prescription drugs can also create side effects in the body. So if you use them long-term, be careful. Always listen to your doctor, though, and see if you can reduce or make any lifestyle changes to help. Anything such as Tylenol, aspirin, radiation from x-rays, breast implants, MRIs. Obviously, you can't avoid everything. However, be mindful and understand what the side effects are. And always keep an open communication with your doctor. Another form of toxins is how we think. And this is something that you can, for the most part, control, or at least try to control. When we think bad and melancholy thoughts, we physically feel bad. Negative thoughts produce a reaction and chemical changes in the brain. This is because thoughts change the brain, and being stuck in a loop of negativity will cause havoc to the limbic system. So watch your thoughts. Try to be as positive as possible and always stay mindful. Don't be stuck in the past and keep moving forward. Lastly, nourish your body with healthy foods. Avoid sugar, white flour, overly processed foods. For me personally, I like a vegan diet with moderate carbohydrates, and that helps me heal. I just feel better overall, and my pain is reduced. I talk more about finding the right diet in the last chapter. Another thing that is found to be true is there's a strong link to slow oxidizers in developing fibromyalgia. Slow oxidizers feel that when they eat lower levels of protein and fat, that helps. Excessive protein and fat at a meal can make them feel tired and lethargic. This might be one of the reasons why a vegan diet worked best for me. And I will discuss more about the benefits in chapter 9. Remember, always be careful with what you put in your body and who you surround yourself with. Your job is to detox and reset your system. Think of junk food and processed food as garbage. Garbage in and garbage out. The same goes for toxic thoughts. Replace those depleted minerals with correct supplements, diets, and vitamins. Replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Your brain and body will start to feel better when you do this. Your thinking will be more clear, and you will have more energy and less pain as a result. Okay, so now I'm here. Any questions? Oh, there's my website, yeah. Okay, any questions, anyone? Oh, there's Crystal. Oh, Crystal's here. Hi, Crystal.
Hi,
Crystal.
sorry,
Hi. I
I
don't know what
came
you
in
heard.
through
Do
the,
you have any questions? Yeah, I don't know how much you got, but
oh no, I got a lot of it. Yeah, not at this time, but yeah, I was here. I came in through the link you shared with me, so it said your name.
oh, okay. And I see here there was another person, Salvadora. Well, nice to meet you, Salvadora. So do you have any questions or, need any help or?
There's nothing in the chat.
There's nothing in the chat. Oh, so we have like 20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yes, nice to meet you too. So, I can read another chapter a little bit and see, and we can wrap it up, or we can
Do
go
you
early.
have a sense for the history of fibromyalgia? When was it given that name? And what are some of, I mean, you mentioned some of the other misdiagnoses that are currently around, but how did it work out to the present state of diagnosis?
That's a really good question. So, to my understanding, in the past, because there was no, with rheumatoid arthritis, there's actual physical damage going on in the system with the joints. So that's actually physically going on in the system. The same with arthritis. I believe there's it stems from its myalgia. It stems from a Latin origin, but in the past, it was just kind of written off as a psychosomatic illness, being that it's all in your head, because there was no visible signs or any tests that picked that up. So, of course, doctors can't really draw a conclusion. So they just would write it off as, well, we don't find anything. There's nothing in the blood work. We don't know what's causing the symptoms. Some of the symptoms overlap. You're mentioning like about other illnesses. Hypothyroidism is very common, and that's one of the reasons too why a lot of people think that might be what's going on, and that's one of the reasons why I thought maybe that's what's going on, is because hypothyroidism a lot of times causes fatigue. Fatigue, sometimes pain, definitely depression, sometimes headaches. So there's a lot of kind of like overlapping symptoms there. There's also Epstein-Barr. That's another thing too that can cause chronic fatigue syndrome. So they're a little different between chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, but both have one thing in common: they cause excessive tiredness. We're talking about the tiredness where like you can't get out of bed, you need 12 hours of sleep, it's hard to, move around, that kind of tiredness. So it is very debilitating. I think probably, I want to say maybe 2010 and beyond, that's when doctors really started to kind of pick up and say, hey, this is an actual condition. It's not all in your head. And then through research, they found it's actually an illness that starts in the brain. So if you think of the substance P in the brain, you're kind of like turning up the pain signals up on really high. However, there's nothing that triggers the pain. It's just that you're highly reactive to stimuli. So with arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, there's more of a physical damage or physical cause to that. With fibromyalgia, it's coming from the brain. So that's why for a long time it's been tricky. And in the past, they used medication like Lyrica, gabapentin to help. I tried Zymbalta. I didn't like it. But like I said, everyone's different. That's why I went to alternative medicine treatment. But, for the most part, to answer your question, a lot of doctors couldn't really figure out what was going on because they attribute it to like maybe, just chronic fatigue or some kind of autoimmune disorder or something like that. So hopefully that answers your question. Do you have?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Do you think, you don't go here, but do you think the delay in grappling with the disease, diagnosing it, and taking it seriously has to do with the fact that it is mostly something suffered by women in a
I
male-dominated medical establishment? You don't go there, but I don't. Did you experience that, or?
so I don't want to offend anyone. The one thing I'll say personally is, and I know women have experienced that a lot of times when you have symptoms, especially if there's even like a hormonal component to it, um, and it affects a large amount of women, you get gaslit a lot. Like, oh, you're not experiencing symptoms, you're fine, everything's fine. So that can be frustrating. That will happen. However, I've seen even people that I've met along the way, men getting it as well. So it's not just a woman's illness. But like I said, with fibromyalgia, there's definitely like an imbalance with the progesterone and estrogen levels. So that happens too. But a lot of times with, more female dominated illnesses, there's not, the amount of attention or understanding, or so yes, that unfortunately happens. That's why it's important to find doctors that are empathetic, that will listen to you, that you feel comfortable with. Anyone you feel like isn't listening, and you'll kind of know just by talking to different people who you gel with and who you don't. And yeah, and as time goes, it's the same thing too with like, you know, any practitioner. You kind of got to just see how they are, see how the personalities are, and they're only human too. So you kind of have to also, another thing I want to say is, I can't stress this enough. With any illness that you have or any symptom, definitely listen to your gut. You're your own best advocate. And sometimes you'll have a symptom and nothing will show up in the blood work, but maybe something shows up in another test. So you really have to stay on top of it and don't be afraid to speak up. I think a lot of times you feel like powerless, and I did too. You know, like, okay, no one's listening to me. I don't know what it is, you know. So that big question mark. But I do agree with what you're saying, but I do feel that it's important to find good doctors that'll listen. And then, you know, and sometimes it takes a while, but it's well worth the wait. So you kind of just gotta keep finding, you know, who you can find. So,
Thank you.
anyone else have questions? Oh, I see it's chat. Okay.
Oh, here's Q&A. Okay, this is Salvadora.
Okay.
In the Q&A, which I hadn't seen, she said, I had almost all the symptoms and the doctors did not find what I had. And they told me that I was 1 in a million or that I had a disease of the future. That happened in 2002. Later that same year, my doctors found that I had hypothyroidism. Do you think I had fibromyalgia?
I think there's a possibility. You know, my mom had fibromyalgia, and there's definitely a genetic component to it, but she was diagnosed in the 80s. So I don't think, you know, it was something that was so mysterious back then. I just think that people didn't have like the knowledge of it, or there wasn't a lot of research on it. So it's possible that you could have had hypothyroidism that caused fibromyalgia, or you could have had both symptoms. That can sometimes happen. Or it could be that your low thyroid is affecting parts of your body that can make you prone to fibromyalgia. I just want to ask, you said you had all the symptoms. Now, did you have the 18 tender points, or did you have pain in those areas, which would be like the occipital lobe, the deltoid, the trapezius, the arm, the forearm, you know, legs? Did you have pain there, or? Yes, okay. Yeah, so basically what they should have done is, if you're positive for 18, or sorry, I'm sorry, 11 out of the 18 points, that should be enough where they say, "You know what? We think it's fibromyalgia." So honestly, I don't know why they would do that, but yeah, it sounds to me like if you had all those kind of like trigger points, which also are like, you know, the glute muscles and the inner thighs, it's just kind of. And you can look at diagrams of that, but basically it is 18 points throughout the body. So you don't have to have all 18 points, but if you mark as 11 of them, that should be enough to diagnose you with fibromyalgia.
Anything else, Salvadora?
Oh, okay, Salvador, that's good. Okay.
Okay, well, we've got about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anyone has any other questions. It was a lot of wonderful information. Um, anything else to add, Shari?
No, if it's all right, just if you want more information, you can go on my website. If you're interested in any essential oils or any kind of natural remedies, I do have those available. So you can look at that. So it's shariemami.com. And yes, I believe there is, Salvador. Yes, there will be. Yeah, she asked if there's a recording of the session. So
Yes, there will be, and I
yes.
think generally it goes up on our YouTube channel afterward. I'll inquire about that, but it has
Okay.
been recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good because other people that weren't able to tune in might find this useful and helpful.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I'm very honored to have helped anyone here today, and I'm so happy to have answered any of your questions. You can also, my email address is on my website. You can definitely reach out to me that way, and I'd be more than happy to answer questions. I also offer coaching sessions, so if you need help with that, I can do that as well. But thank you, everyone at Los Angeles Library. It was such a great experience, and thank you.